it's going to open up on Monday. We also had a good consumer confidence report. When it comes to these things, and I'm not trying to be a stock analyst, but in looking at the tenor and tone of how the people that do this for a living feel like the economy's going, despite how we feel when we go and stop and fill up nowadays, minor sacrifice for world peace. It just really is. But the consumer confidence is up as well in the latest report, and pretty substantially, which surprised a lot of people because these just times we're still working through inflation that hit us through the Biden years. We're still adjusting and trying to grow our way out of those prices where things feel affordable again. On that front, there have been several housing markets out west and here in the South where there's a lot of home inventory, and that's helping on the prices right now. And we're seeing some rental markets start to improve and become more affordable. There's less pressure on the rental system. All that stuff needs to be able to move. And the thing that gets all that moving, the liquidity and the velocity of getting those kind of business decisions made, comes down to interest rates. And we all know the artificial reason why those are stubbornly higher than a lot of people believe they should be. It's Jerome Powell. If you take him out of the equation and get reasonable rates, I mean, just another half point for now, in what worked into the system with the demand structure that's there now, and then you take this, you get this Iranian conflict settled and let oil return to a reasonable level. There's nothing to stop this economy. There's no other impediments. The trade deficit came in the other day at 55% less than it was a year and a half ago. 55%, that's our balance with the rest of the world on how we're doing trade deals, and all that was part of the tariff war strategy. So this stuff has all the potential to bear fruit. These are fundamental things based on economic principles that have always worked, moving our country forward back to a more sane place with all of these issues. But we got to work through these disruptions and this tense part of changing everything and fixing it. And here we are, April of 2026, and we're already doing some pretty good stuff with those numbers at least. Forget the price of gas. Don't look at that right now. Just don't look. Back here in a minute, Leland Live, Talk 995. Y'all stay tuned. See, the only problem with our tradition of you playing Unknown Henson is I want to sit and listen to the songs. Yeah, it turns out.
I know. He always got a good story.
How'd this fight go, man? He's a storyteller. A true talent that we miss so much. He had to retire from music.
I know. I was so wanting to see him live. You got to see him live.
Got to see him once at Zydeco.
Man.
On a whim, me and Murphy, we went to see Unknown with my buddy Dennis. All right, y'all, let's get back at it. Of course, SaveWithStockton.com. Present them to you every single night. Is Thomas there? You want me to just do it tonight there, John Bird?
Just go ahead and do it.
I'll just take care of it then. I can tell the story. These guys are so good at the various programs that are available to you when it comes to your mortgage stuff. And, with these rates, they've crept up a little bit the last couple of weeks, but they're still historically within range of reason. And I don't know that, if we're going to see 3 or 4% interest again, we're going to have some kind of economic disaster to justify lowering them that far. So there's always a range where they historically sit. I think I bought my first house at close to 7%. I'm not just trying to talk you into stuff. I'm just saying if you're paralyzed, there's still options for you. Say you're in a first mortgage, but you want to hang on to that rate that you got years ago, but you still need to do some things. There are products that can do that. If you're a first-time buyer, you've got a lot of options. Veterans, you've earned those benefits. You have earned it. That's not charity. It's your paycheck. It's the benefits that you worked hard for and deserve. Take advantage of all that comes with the veterans benefits with lending. They even had a situation one time where I was looking at a property and I didn't realize that particular zip code was eligible for some lower rates because it had some damage, I guess. It had been declared like a FEMA area or something. Man, I wouldn't have known about that if I was Googling around trying to compare rates. The best thing to do is let them just start working with you. You don't have to be ready to do all the stuff. There's so much involved, and they'll hold your hand through that process. But maybe you just want to talk about scenarios and what's possible. They are ready to do that with you. It's our good friends, of course, SaveWithStockton.com. That's a website they set up just for this radio show, SaveWithStockton.com. All right, as the White House, this is kind of amazing that this came out now, as the White House is sitting, weighing its options and monitoring the situation in Iran. The president has put out an executive order that's going to get the interest of a lot of people in this audience about college football. Hey, John Dennis, the guy I told you went to the concert.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Moore went with us to that too. He's coming back on the stage.
Oh my gosh.
Dennis just called out Unknown. He's a big Unknown fan.
Yes.
All right. So Trump just put out an executive order to, quote, save college sports. And let me just give you a summary of it, because this is going to be a talk about thing through the weekend outside of the more dramatic news. Now, first up, I had to look down and go, how could the presidents can't just wave a wand and start telling people what to do unless you got leverage. And if there's anything about Trump, he understands leverage. And his leverage against especially colleges and universities is clearly federal funding. So what he's saying, unless colleges abide by these things, they're going to threaten to pull federal funding. Interesting. So here's what the president's team has come up with. If you remember, Nick Saban had some input on this. Coach Tuberville had some input on this. All of those coaches that have access to Trump got to weigh in on how to fix these things. And so this is what I understand. I got little bullet points right here. An athlete can only transfer to another school one time before they graduate without having to sit out a year. In other words, you can't instantly leave a team and go play for another team like that. That's been a big problem with the portal. There's no downside to just abandoning the commitment you made to a school. Athletes can only play up to 5 seasons in a 5-year window. I don't know how this works. I lost contact with college football years ago in my head, where you got some guys that have been playing for 7 or 8 years. That guy down in Miami's been around since I was in college. So there's that. He's been at all these different teams. So that's one of the things. Apparently they gave an August 1st effective date for all this, meaning this year's college football season. And they were threatening to strip schools, again, of their federal funding. There's some other provisions in here about, I think, pro athletes. Once you turn pro, you can't come back to college to stop sort of that reverse revolving door. Now, that doesn't change the money that's involved now, the NIL stuff. Maybe some of that's addressed. This is more the transfer portal that's driving everybody crazy, where you can't, there's no team loyalty. There is no team at all. These guys are all out for themselves and have the ability to leave when they get their feelings hurt. There's no sacrifice. The young players want to play instantly. That's not even tenable in a lot of situations. So I don't know. We'll see how it's going to be, if it's going to be effective or enforced. Here's what I predict, not trying to be a sports expert, but I am a politician expert and a lawsuit expert in some ways. One of these colleges, or a group of them, are going to file suit against the White House and try to slow this down, because either they don't want to make the changes or they're going to claim to be confused. Something will happen to intervene in this. I don't know who else would have standing. I think there might be a players group that could possibly claim that their rights are being violated or something by trapping them at these schools. But, philosophically, and then I'll drop it because we got too many other things to deal with. And if y'all want to call about this, we got a few minutes. Look, you sign a contract and commit to basically go to work for the school, like other people in other industries sign contracts. Let me just put it this way. These guys have a lot more freedom than some of us radio hosts. I'm just, if you know what I'm saying, John Bird.
I know exactly what
our industry holds people to no competes, to non-competes, and to non-compete periods religiously, and has for decades. It's very well known in our industry. So when you sign for a period of time, you're pretty much there until the completion of that contract. And then it's very difficult to, in some circumstances, to sit out a period where you can't even work to go to work for a competitor. And that's just the result. And look, some of that's being challenged in the courts as well. The FCC is taking a review of our industry with that kind of stuff. But in college football, these kids have more latitude than some of you that work in tech or commit to other firms where they're going to give you a return and you're going to work for them and there's an agreed to period. It's just rather than being competitive, it's being non-competitive. So anyway, y'all know the problems. The solutions have been elusive. The old system, I don't think will ever come back. This whole idea that they're amateur athletes and should just play for school spirit and this cheesy scholarship where they're not even going to class. Yeah, that never was really the case anyway. So, but it has gotten ridiculous, and I don't know if I'm glad he's making a move. Somebody's got to take the lead on it. Congress is never going to take this stuff up. But again, let me look at these. Here's another bullet point. Let me make sure I've got this totally covered. Non-compliant schools it's the same list. It's the same list I had. There got to be more details to it, but we'll find out as we roll through the next 17 minutes of whether or not somebody could break that down for us. Y'all, Michelson Laser Vision next up here on the show. I got my LASIK going on 7 years ago. I guess this fall it'll be 7 full years of being 2015. And I'm telling you, I'm not even saying this just because they're advertising on the show. They're a sponsor. They pay us to do ads on our show, Dr. Michelson and Dr. Jennifer and Dr. Mark. But I really am sort of a disciple for what they do, even in my personal life when I've got friends that wear glasses or contacts and the subject comes up. I used to bring it up when I first got it done. I was like running around telling people, take those glasses off. You need to go get LASIK. So it's a personal decision, and I wasn't comfortable with it either. I was squeamish. I'm talking to the squeamish right now. I'm talking to the reluctance, the doubting Thomases. It is Easter, right? Listen, at least do the due diligence to find out if you're eligible. That's step one, because if you're not, there's no point in going through the process of learning about it. But if you're medically eligible, and they'll check you out for that, they'll examine you and see if you're a good fit. Turned out I was a pretty good candidate, and that built my confidence. But when I understood the thing that was the main thing that got me going on it was when I understood how it worked. When I understood the risk versus the benefits, how the procedure actually works, how long it's been around. And it's even improved since I did it all those years ago. What was that, 2018, 19? Man, they've got this laser version, this version where the laser actually does the diagnostic scan of the cornea. It can see things that the eye surgeon couldn't even detect and adjust. And so it's very, very precise. And you may not even need that level of correction, but it's there if you need it, if you've got unusual issues, night visions and halo things at night. And some people even have scar tissue from procedures at other places from the past that didn't go well. They can fix that. They can fix it. You don't have to live with that anymore. It's Michelson Laser Vision. They're downtown UAB Highlands. Easy in and out of that facility. It's just a nice facility with its own parking lot. It's Michelson Laser Vision. Again, Dr. Mark, Dr. Jennifer, y'all tell them I said hey when you get your appointment. MichelsonLaserVision.com. Back here for the final segment. Man, we're just about to wrap this sucker up for Good Friday. EcoView windows and doors as we approach the summer season. It's a little harder to detect window leakage when it's warm outside. Here's how I notice. I grew up in a house that had old windows like this, and this house was built in 1920s. And man, the technology back then was a single pane of glass. They'd stick it in there and put a molding around it, and maybe put a little caulk on it, and then over time that caulk separates, and the window starts to sag and sort of warple a little bit, and you got leaky windows, and it's just uncomfortable in the summer. You can't quite get the air cool enough. I like to sleep cold, like cold in the room. Drives Jessica crazy, but still like it. And if you don't have a tight house, you'll never get that temperature down, that humidity out. So you're miserable. Your system's working overtime. In the winter, I always tell you, you stand next to your windows, you can feel that draft. You can feel that cold air coming in. That's just wasted money. The industry average is that about 35% of your heating and cooling bills is literally going out that window every single winter, and even in the summer, because of the inefficiency. And that's the average. Becky Jackson over at EcoView Windows will tell you some houses are way worse than that. It's hard to know that. So let them come give you an estimate. They've got the best products in the industry. We've had 2 different callers in just the last week or so alone to call us unsolicited to tell us how great those windows are and how much they love the experience of how quickly they did the install. Didn't even leave a mess. Took everything with them when they left. And now it feels like a new house. And they've got architectural styles at EcoView that can match any home. I know some people are in homes with character and older homes, and you hate to mess with anything. They can match it and make it look really, really nice. And now you've got modern windows and you're buttoned up. Save on those power bills. Could even be some tax implications as you're putting together your taxes this year. You may have noticed some sections where if you've made any investments in energy efficiency, check on that. Could be a benefit for you on the next filing next year. It's ecoviewwindows.com, ecoviewwindows.com. All right, back to our pilot search. Let me get around here and get the latest on what we think is going on. It's really cloudy right now, and the White House has been ominously quiet as the search goes on for our missing pilot. The Iranians, for their part, and again, if they were remotely reliable on the information they put out from their side, we might have some balance, but they completely fabricate stuff. There's a report tonight that we've also hit one of their television production facilities, which I'm amazed we haven't done that before now. I saw this lady in a burqa, some guy with a weird uniform, making these proclamations against the United States. I'm like, how are we allowing that to go on? But the Iranians are claiming they've actually hit 4 F-15 Eagles over the last few days. They've hit a couple of F-16s. They claim they've hit an F-35. None of these have come down in territory. None of these have resulted in missing pilots. And what I'm wondering is, I don't believe that list is correct, but it's reporting all over the place about how this F-15 would have been hit from the ground with a military who's largely been, who's had their military decimated. So there's some talk of new technology, some infrared sensor that our pilots can't see that's new for the Iranians, and we don't know where that's going. What I do, if somebody sent me a message and said, well, what are you worried about? What's the downside of all this? The upside, and what we've talked about since we came on the air tonight, is we get our guy. We rescue him. It's dramatic. It's heroic, and he's at safety, and we're not being leveraged by these people. The whole way they started their whole regime was taking Americans hostage and leveraging that for 444 days back in 1979 and 1980. They didn't let them go to 81. And so, yeah, they would love to have that cover and have that possibility. So for a lot of reasons, not just for the life of the pilot and the safety of the pilot, but for this whole situation to not go to a whole different place, we need to get that pilot back one way or the other. And so all eyes are on that tonight, and we're optimistic. We have to be optimistic. I think the advantage, at least in the darkness, is ours. But the downside, not to be too Pollyanna about it, the downside, of course, is that somehow the Iranians have technology that they've not been able to deploy or haven't deployed for some reason, or didn't have and suddenly have for some reason, that is going to change our air superiority that we've enjoyed for now 33 days, complete dominance from the sky. And the Department of War has been not bashful whatsoever about that dominance. But this, and again, even with that, even with air superiority, you have to take into account that the enemy's going to have still some capability, still in the fight, still taking shots, and is going to get lucky every now and then. But if we start seeing a pattern of crashes and things coming out of the sky that weren't coming out of the sky, that's not a good sign. That means the Iranians have adjusted somehow. They've still got enough command structure to make the adjustments, to employ the tech and make it lethal enough to cause us to potentially have to draw back on our air operations, which takes some of the pressure off them. I mean, you can see the reverse engineering of what we've been able to accomplish so far if they have the ability to fight back from the ground. I'm not saying that's the case. There's no real good reporting that says that's the case, other than we did have 2 incidents near the Strait of Hormuz and near Karg Island that happened almost simultaneously. It wasn't just this F-15. We had this AR-10 Warthog. That's that ugly plane that the military loves, that does the, 3,000 rounds a minute. Brr. I mean, it just strafes everything on the ground, and it's an amazing tank killer and personnel killer that would be very effective also in this hostage rescue to create a perimeter and keep things from moving toward our guy if we pinpoint the location. But yeah, that went down in the Persian Gulf. The crew was rescued. Then we had the F-15 incident. And then we had a Black Hawk that was shot down that was part of the search effort that had gone on all day today, very near the F-15 incident. Could have been different reasons that those came down, and we don't have all the reporting on that. But when you start to see patterns like this, it gets a little ominous. No word from the White House, no update from CENTCOM. We do have Fox News reporting on the condition of the pilot, the second American pilot, saying that there has been contact. We've been hearing that on and off through an encrypted radio. Sources say the pilot was, with someone who initially contacted the military. After that, the Special Forces unit was dispatched to find him. The navigator managed to eject. A senior official also said that Israel has assisted in the search, continues to help. You know, that's positive news. If you can make contact and get a location, we've got the personnel. We've got the air superiority and what we need in place to quickly put a bubble around that guy and get on the ground and get him. So prayers up for that tonight, especially as we count down the cover of darkness, which I think, if my math is correct, we've got about 2 hours of darkness left, which is a huge advantage for us. So prayers up this evening that this is quickly resolved. One more time for Alabama Gold Refinery before we completely get on out of here on this Good Friday. That's Steve. I'm sure they're closed this Easter weekend, but as you make your trades, if you're looking for a safe, honest place that'll give you good value when you want to buy gold or sell gold or trade gold or silver or platinum, any of these things, this is a real resource. It's like an exchange, centrally located in Homewood, all the security around them that you would want and expect to do these kind of bring in your valuables and take out your cash. There are tax advantages to doing this here in the state of Alabama. And personally, I think gold is at a buying opportunity right now. It took a dip when a lot of this stuff started, and maybe that's a chance for you to get in before it goes back to where it was. You never know. Talk to Steve about it. He'll give you some good advice, too. He's a great guy. AGR, AlabamaGoldRefinery.com. John Bird, thank you for filling in for AJ. You have a happy Easter, my friend.
You do the same, brother.
We will see y'all on Monday. Wash your hands and all that. Bye, AJ.